So I went and cashed out $2,800 from the Venmo money and went to the restaurant with that. And 21 of us had breakfast that morning. And the final bill came to about $380. The final tip came to almost $4,000 with our money thrown in. I left it with the manager. We walked out the door and I thought that was the end of it. I figured I'd probably hear from the owner or whatever. And she called me a couple of days later and said, I wanted you to know that everyone got a piece of that. So the entire restaurant, the entire staff, the lady who called out that day and switched shifts with somebody. Oh, you got half of it. So it really reached out to some people that really needed it. It just made an impact on a small community. And that's what we were looking to do.
It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. Know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 253. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. Hi.
Hi.
You ready for our big trip tomorrow? Well, it's not a big trip. People are like, are we ever at home?
I know, right? Well, it's so weird. First of all, I am ready.
Okay.
And second of all, you guys, it was like this all the time before the pandemic. And apparently we're just back to that.
Yes.
Like apparently this is just our life now where it's just go, go, go. I mean, nonstop.
And it's our own, we're doing fun things. So like
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I just mean get used to it.
Yeah. It was funny because like when COVID hit, it was just like everything, it went from like 60 to 0.
And it felt amazing. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it was sad because I hated missing out on things, but it was also really nice to just rest.
And, but now things are firing back up and like not the false start like last time, but like it seems like we're doing this. And so, yeah, we have tickets to see. We're going to, not to brag, we're going to Salina, Kansas.
Woo!
So,
look out, Kansas. Here we come.
This is one of those towns where I think you say salud in front of it.
Only if there's a Roger Clyne show.
Oh, I was thinking hee-haw.
Oh.
Because they would do shout outs to towns with like they'd be like Paducah, Kentucky, which I know is bigger than that, but like, population 300. Salute. But no, we're going to go see a band that you've probably never heard of called Delamitri.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan, and they haven't played the States in like 30 years. They're from Wales. They're a big deal over there. They're not such a big deal over here. Yeah. And so the fact that they're even bothering to come to America is unusual and surprising. So I figured this is probably the only time left that I'll get to see them, and they're not coming to St. Louis. So we're trucking over to Salina, Kansas.
Yep.
So that's what we have in store.
And I'll be working on the road. This will be an interesting little experiment.
Yes, we're getting our cooler all ready for our MetPro approved meal, so we can still be dialed in and good since we're driving.
And we have a hotel that's got a refrigerator and it's got a microwave. So we're doing all the tips and tricks that I tell people every day as part of my full-time job.
We are doing them as well.
Yes, we are.
So there.
We need to after that cruise, Tom.
Yes. Yes, we did. Yes. If you were your own coach, you would have scolded yourself.
Yes, I would have. Although I've been real nice to everybody who hasn't.
No, you would not have scolded because you're allowed to go have fun.
Yes. Live your life, man.
Absolutely. So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
The guide.
Okay.
That's what's in store. There's a lot of really interesting information we've got about other things that are going on. Instructors, where they've been. Yes, we're going to touch on Ben Alldis, what's going on, and we've got some other little key details. But honestly, it's a quiet week.
It is.
So we're gonna be in. We're gonna be out. Hey, just so you guys know, there's no Dr. Jin this week. There's no MetPro segment this week.
So it's gonna be like 2017 up in this bit.
You guys aren't even going to know what to do. You're going to be done and you're going to be like, what? That was all?
Why was the episode 45 minutes?
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll fill it.
Yeah, that's true. We are good at that.
And we have our awesome interview with Josh Vernon. So that is a worthy cause that he is talking about. They had a really cool story that they raised a bunch of money. So you definitely want to stay tuned and hear about that too.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeart, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review if you would be so kind. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group, sign up for our newsletter at theclipout.com. And every week you get an email in a nice digestible format with all the links and stuff that we talk about throughout the episode. And this is a really good week for that one because there are so many different articles and reviews about the guide, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I don't think we're going to sit there and go through each one by one because it would be kind of a snooze.
Yeah. We like to keep things moving.
Yeah, we try. So, but if you want to get kind of a collection of all the reviews to comb through them on your own, if you're on the fence, that would be a good thing to join the mailing list for. And finally, if listening to us isn't enough and you want to gaze into our eyes, our lipid pools of water on our faces.
You make it sound so weird.
It's my superpower. You can do that at youtube.com/theclipout. So there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Run, lift, and live with John Mills.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube, it's John Mills. Hey, John, how's it going?
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, look at that energy.
That's right. All ready to go. That's right.
Are you energized by the guide release?
That's why he has the energy.
Is that where the energy's coming from? Uh-oh. He's looking around like not true.
It's nice. I'm just saying. I mean, it's okay. Listen, it's great, but it's not what I expected. I mean, there are so many other products in the space that do so many things that, I got to wonder. But I get that, for people new to strength and what Peloton potentially is going after, maybe it's a good thing. But I don't know. It wasn't what I expected.
Well, and I do think that it's fair to point out that, at least from what I'm hearing, this product is not designed to compete with a tonal. It's more competing with like the Mirror and maybe Tempo. And I guess Tempo Move really specifically. And I think from a standpoint of cost, I think that they have accomplished that. I think, check that box.
Right.
And I haven't gotten to try it yet. But they did get this. They sent me a note the other day, they being Peloton. Yeah. They're sending me a guide.
Yes.
I mean,
there you go.
Yeah. That's never happened. That has never happened.
They've never sent you anything. I guess one time when they were sending out a bunch of like free care packages or something that went to thousands of people.
Yeah, no, but they've never sent me specifically. Cool. It is cool. Like, it is.
To show you how it works with Peloton, when we hosted Homecoming with John Foley,
we paid for our tickets.
We paid for our own tickets. They were like, they invited us to do it, and then there was this moment where they're like,
but you guys have tickets, right?
You got tickets though, right? Okay, then you can do it.
And you're bringing your own drinks too, right? You're bringing your own drinks.
They did.
Right?
They did.
Okay, then you can host.
We did get drinks. Oh, okay. That is true.
Right.
Didn't everybody get drinks?
Yeah, everybody got drinks. So, So
we got free water when we were on stage, but just
true.
one.
That
just
is
one.
true.
Just one.
They were like, "It's 45 minutes. You'll be
you
fine."
go looking for another bottle of water.
Yeah, they're like, "We're not giving Tom 2 bottles of water. We know how he pees."
Now they've been very very supportive of us always, and they have always like gotten us instructor interviews and things like that. So I don't mean to like look a gift horse in the mouth, but they've never sent us product.
Yes.
This is
That's
new.
nice.
It is.
That's
and so
new.
I mean, who knows how long it'll take to get here because we are in the Midwest. So it could be a wait.
Yeah.
But I am intrigued to try it because I want to see for myself how the interface works and how it all works. Now I tell you what, they would have gotten me either way because apparently my trigger word is exclusive content. You tell me that I am not going to be able to try this particular class for 45 days. Okay, I'll buy it. I gotta know what it is. I can't be left out.
The exclusive content thing, I think there are some slick things that they added in there.
Okay.
I think the exclusive content thing, you're right. I think that is bingo, right on it. I think that's going to hit a lot of people. A lot of existing members are going to be flooding for that. Number one. Number two, $295,
right,
included in your membership.
I mean, check.
I mean, you're going to get like a large percentage of folks are just going to buy that just because it's $295.
Well, and you know, I have to say, everything I'm hearing is that the guide is going to be necessary for that platform device that's coming out and other things I'm hearing in the roadmap. So like you got to have the guide. So for $295, how can you say no? How can you say no?
And I'm feeling really good about the idea that I'm hearing these rumors about yoga usage, Pilates usage, and then you got to start extrapolating from that. What other categories where they might actually be able to utilize this? On top of that, I'm hearing these rumors about, I know it's not true, form correction and rep counting, but I'm hearing these rumors like that may be coming.
Well,
so all that stuff sounds like, I mean, it might be more positive than I originally
I have to clarify what I'm hearing from people is the rep counting is coming. Yes. Check that box.
Right.
But the form correction, not coming. That is not, does not exist. It's not in the roadmap. Not happening.
Okay. Do you know with the rep counting, do you know, will you have to have their weights for rep counting, or will the little looking at you thing know? The
little looking at you thing will know.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm hearing.
I would assume so, because I got to assume that activity tracker, if I'm calling it right, that's the right name.
Yeah.
It's got to be doing some form of that already.
It's called the looking at you guy.
I like that better.
Yeah, it's
looking at your eye, the looking at your eye is already counting. It just don't count that well, so that's why they just have it.
It's
like
young.
Looking at you.
It's young.
It's learning. It's the AI. It's like in kindergarten. We got to give it some time to grow up.
That's right. It got to grow up. That's how I see it, truly how I see it. And they're just evolving that. And so I would assume that's already happening, and eventually it'll just be true rep counting. So yeah, I'm with you. In reading about it now, I see more future positives into the direction of it than I originally thought.
Well, so, I'm really glad.
I guess I probably already mentioned it, that body activity thing. That body activity tracker that's in the app that shows you the areas of your body where you.
So we heard about that a couple weeks ago, and we like posted some images that like came out kind of early. I guess they were probably for people testing it that probably weren't supposed to share it, but they did. And so and the interesting thing is that I believe other companies already use that. I know Tonal does, because we call that the little guy front and back.
Little guy front and back.
And
the little guy front and back.
Yeah, little guy front and back.
All these acronyms I don't know anything about. I need to brush up on my acronym.
You're going to have to listen to the superset, because that's where we talk about the little guy front and back. But little guy front and back over in Tonal, he's green. Now the thing that's differentiating,
because he's Irish.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
Or horny, depending on if you're in middle school.
And now the differentiator for Peloton is that they tell you the breakdown percentage of which muscles are being worked, which the Tonal one doesn't do that. Like it will, like, if you click on it, it'll tell you which exercises were included, but it doesn't say like percentage wise. So that's neat and different. The other thing that people are super excited about, I have heard so much buzz about this that the all of the different moves are broken down in the class plan now. People are so stoked about that, which I guess So when it comes to strength training, I get why this is important. I don't really care on the bike. Like, whatever. I'll get on a bike and do whatever they tell me to do because it's kind of all the same. But when it comes to strength, you want to know, like, maybe it's going to be doing like some kind of move that you can't do. So it's good to kind of know ahead of time what you're getting into. So I do like that they have this breakdown and the video you see on the screen if you're watching. Yeah. Now it shows you how to do each move.
Which Tonal's been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Danielle sent that to me or put it in the group. I can't remember where she did. But
I think she put it in the group.
Yeah, showed that where you click on it, you show the small short clip of what that movement is. Yeah, I kind of like that too.
I do. I think those are good things. And I think they're things that people weren't expecting. But I find it fascinating that people are more excited about little guy front and back and the move breakdown than they are about the actual guide. Anybody else?
I don't know. That kind of makes sense to me, I think.
Really?
I mean, yeah, well, not the little guy front and back, but just the software stuff.
See, it's catchy, right? At first you hear it and you think, well, that's dumb.
The little guy front and back.
And then it's kind of fun to say. Little guy front and back.
And it just flows.
Little guy front and back. Little guy front and back. And it just comes out. Little guy front and back.
It does, right? Like, yeah. These are the things you're missing if you don't listen to the superset.
But it all kind of adds up, like this, the content, kind of the app, kind of software-based stuff, the niche, the stuff they've been good at.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense. That's where people would be like, oh, that's kind of cool. I guess it kind of adds up.
I wonder if that price point will be, because $295 is pretty reasonable. I wonder if that price point will end up. I know the first thought, because you and I were talking about this offline, but that we were like, oh, for the same place, $295. A lot of people are going to love, well, that's not much. Go ahead, I'll roll the dice on it. But I wonder if you'll see a lot of maybe app users finally upgrading, that if they're already taking those classes on their phone and that they're like, oh, well, $300, I can swing that, and that'll be their entry point. So
the interesting thing there is, Tom, if you don't have an existing Peloton product, you can get the guide and the membership for, I think it's $24 a month. And then that's like an introductory price. So like next year, it's going to go up to $36 a month. So right now, if you only want the guide, you're better off just getting the guide. And
I think this could be a good way for people to dip their toes in the water. And I think another aspect that maybe people aren't factoring in is that it's portable, right? So if
that's true.
If you travel, you can grab your guide and go.
And I
just came up with their next marketing plan.
Grab your guide and go. Oh my God.
There it is.
You're gonna need
little guy front and back.
You're gonna need a double bedded room, one for you, one for little guy front and back.
They should be sending you guys 2 guides just for that. You know what I mean?
Who would use it? We just sell it. Sell to you for $250.
$250. Send it to you. $294.
Free shipping.
I feel like Chris Rock, and I'm going to get you second. pour my hands for 10 cents. How much for one rib?
One rib.
This is apropos of nothing. It's just because it's on our screen. But sissy squat, we're still saying that. Like
what is this?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
I feel like I need to click on that, but it's a screenshot, so we can't. I don't know what a tall kneeling sissy squat is. That just the one where you just do the overhead press?
Well, I have like a sissy squat machine, so I only know it from that perspective.
What is it?
I just feel like it needs a new name. Like that's.
It needs a 2022
like that
name.
Sissy is that's kind of other F. That's kind of other F word adjacent.
Okay, but we still use snatch. So can we get rid of that one too? Like if we're calling out exercises,
if we're getting rid of sissy, we got to get rid of snatch.
Yeah.
We got to do a whole overhaul on all these names. These come out of the 70s.
Yeah.
No one's corrected these things
First
yet.
off,
time to upgrade.
I vote for keeping snatch.
I bet you do.
Like that's. I just want to come down.
I voted for snatch.
Exactly. I am firmly pro snatch.
I'm against. You guys are sissy squats.
Just make sure that I got my vote in the right column.
Yes. She's
Early
against,
for
but
snatch.
I could have it against.
Tom,
What?
no.
I told you had it beautiful.
No. Stop. Oh my God. Don't at me.
How they do the sissy squats without the machine? I'm not sure, but
What is it
the
though?
machine-
What is it?
but the machine has your like calves, like something behind your where your Achilles tendon is, and something in the front, kind of keeping it stable. And there's like a little like bridge up against underneath your knees, so that you can squat, but you have like support of your lower leg. So you're squatting backwards, it's just butt going down, back up.
And it keeps your
legs,
leg
your lower
immovable.
leg is just like straight. Like I know that machine, but I don't know what that means from like a standalone position.
Especially when it says it's a kneeling one. I'm so confused. Maybe we should look up the video.
Yeah.
People are at home yelling at
They're
us.
yelling at
They're like, it's like this, you idiot.
Yeah,
They're all
that's
going
totally
nuts
what's happening right now.
Well, I still just think that maybe it needs a new name.
Okay. Only if we're getting rid of the snatch.
Never. I will never get rid of this name.
Hey, don't send me my ballot, Tom. Make sure I know when you're voting on this. Be at this meeting.
John and I are forming.
This meeting. I need to be in.
John and I are forming our own political action committee
Well,
Horse Snatch Action
for
Group.
our Pro Snatch Initiative. PSI.
right.
Pro Snatch Initiative.
PSI.
Yes. You can at me.
We need shirts and everything.
Hashtag PSI.
That's right.
oh my
That's
God, we
right.
need new T-shirts.
We need shirts. We need hand signals and everything. Or maybe we don't. Maybe we
Wait
don't
a
need
minute. What are you doing with the hand signals?
Maybe we don't need hand signals. I dropped my ear. I got so excited about this snatch thing.
He lost an earbud. Just because his head exploded and one just popped right out.
I was so in fear that we're going to get rid of the snatch.
So I just we just had an email come through that Peloton is taking the guide back. And they also said while they're here, they're going to take your tread and bike too.
Over my dead body.
Peloton was so appalled with the last segment, they actually just emailed to say that they're giving us a tempo.
That's hilarious.
And 3 echelons.
And 3 of them.
Yes.
3
of them.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Oh, dear
Oh,
God.
goodness. So have we, is there more guide stuff to talk about? Or I don't know.
Do we want to talk about any of the reviews? They're coming back. Meh.
Oh, they haven't seen any of the reviews.
Oh, there's been like the Wall Street Journal did one, and Engadget
that's
did
right.
one.
Oh,
and,
that's right. Gadgets.
So they're basically kind of just like, yeah,
Right.
that's
Right.
yeah. Right.
From what I've seen
about
so
right.
far, and we all know how important my opinion of fitness equipment is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I think
Oh, well, uh-oh.
if you're,
I got a brace.
I think if you,
Hold on.
no, there's no joke coming. I think if you like Peloton and you're like, well, what's up with this mirror, that, like, I think the guide is enough to tip you like Team Peloton.
I definitely agree with that.
I think you'll be like, close enough. I can, if you're interested in the stuff that the mirror or the tempo offers you, I think that you can look at the guide and go, okay, and I can add a bike or a tread later if I don't want to spend that much money right now, or I don't have to choose between a bike and a mirror. I can do the bike and add the guide and not pay extra, and it's close enough. I think it's enough. I think if anybody that really does her research, I don't think it's enough to compete against Tonal, but with all the other stuff, absolutely.
Well, remember that article that I was talking about months ago where like the writer was like hugely pro Tonal, but she spoke to the Tonal like it was just for like heavy weightlifting.
Yes.
Not for that introductory, like she spoke to it was like, you were really into weightlifting, which would confuse me. Like I thought, that ain't quite right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, I only talk about that because I posted in my group this week about the guide and whether or not that was really for folks that are like well established into like a weight training regiment. Like I wasn't really sure. It was just kind of a question, like I always do, ask all these questions with no answers. And then a guy comes out there and he was like, he thought that the guide was like very aligned to Peloton's historical strategy. Like he felt like, well, when the bike came out, people weren't all on bikes at home all the time. And Peloton brought people into that space. They weren't like avid, cyclists. These were people that became like indoor cyclists because Peloton was the introduction to it. And he saw the guide as that. He was like, this is going to introduce people to weight training. And it's a perfect vehicle to do that. It is their pattern. Like that's how he saw it.
I can, there's a lot of logic behind that.
Thought about it like that, but okay.
I think we come at it from a different angle because we are always talking about like the different items that are already out there, and we're because we already know about tonal, we know about mirror, we know about tempo, so it's like we're coming at it from a different angle. But I think that is a good point. I think there's a lot of people who have been riding the bike since they got the bike, and that's all they've been doing, which is great. That's awesome. Right. But if you want a well-rounded program of fitness, you've got to include strength somehow. And so,
And I think that and we talk about this on the Superset a lot, but I think there's a lot of people that mistakenly fear weightlifting because they think that they'll get big.
Yeah.
And so, the guide might thread that needle for them, even though they're not right, but that they'll see it and go, oh, I won't get jacked. I'll just get toned.
Right.
And so like there probably are people that'll look at that and go, okay, well that's weightlifting I can get behind because I don't feel like I'm going to come out of this looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Right. I think there's good. I definitely think there's a market here. I think it's for existing Peloton users mostly. I don't think this is going to bring, to me, I don't think a lot of people are going to be new to Peloton. I know you were saying, Tom, you feel like this would be good for app users, and I could see that, but I think it's for people who are already utilizing Peloton in some way. I don't see this like bringing brand new people to the Peloton platform.
I would agree with that, but it might be a good entry point for people to go from the app into an equipment level Peloton membership.
Yep.
So
yeah, I'm right with you with that. I think from what I've been seeing, there's a whole bunch of existing Peloton members that are talking about they're buying this thing.
It's because they use the words exclusive content. They got us. You know what I heard? I heard there's going to be a Tune Day program, Tune Day Arms coming in May.
See, that's all you had to say is Tune Day Arms. Mm-hmm. You probably just sold like 50,000 units right there.
Use promo code the clip out.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. There's no such thing.
It won't work, but at least they'll know.
But they'll see that you tried.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, and it'll be but that's the interesting thing to me. That's going to be interesting is if we end up finding out that they are actually getting new subs off of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does that look? That's what I want to know about. I mean, we ain't going to know that until
November.
They give us the numbers for fiscal Q4.
Yeah, that's
when we'll know about that.
Yeah. So. And then it'll also be interesting because our next earnings call is May 4th. That's when it's scheduled right now. So we'll be hearing the next earnings call, but that'll happen before homecoming. So that'll happen before the rower drops. All we're going to know is very, 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 very early preliminary, basically the demand from sending out the information a couple months ago is really all we're going to know.
Yeah. And the fiscal Q2 ended the end of March, right? So it wasn't even out yet. Yeah. So I don't, they won't have anything for us in May.
No.
It literally won't be until August that we'll hear any real information on it. But I'm real interested. We'll see that. And it's that specifically. What subs are they getting from it?
One thing that is different about this drop than they've ever done before on a piece of equipment, it's shipping right away. Nobody has to wait. We didn't have, remember the Tread? Do you remember the Tread Plus? It took months. I pre-ordered that thing. It took me a year to get. Right. Do you remember that? I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember you complaining about it.
Exactly.
I was in Vegas when they displayed it.
I know.
Ordered the Tread from the floor of CES. I didn't get mine for like 9 months.
Still got it before I did.
Got it before your rower.
I'm sitting there talking to John Foley, ordering the Tread Plus. I still didn't get it for 9 months.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Not that I'm complaining. I love that Tread Plus. That thing is awesome.
It is awesome.
By the way.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, John, thank you very much for joining us. Until next week, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, my Facebook page or group, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on Instagram, Run, Lift, and Live. They can find me on the Tickety-Tock, Run, Lift, and Live. Or they can find me at runliftandlive.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
Instructors in the news.
So we had an interesting post this week from Ben Alldis.
Yeah, he talked about having like injury or illness, and he said, you know, how debilitating can be. And then he like just kind of like casually mentions, oh, back in 2018, I was diagnosed with skin cancer.
BT dubs, I had cancer.
Yeah. And he talks about like that he had to take some time to break from working out, and that it was really difficult for him physically and mentally to take that break.
I bet.
And then he shared a photo that was taken a couple of weeks after he'd been given the all clear.
Hopefully he has sunscreen on.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
I know.
I'm sure he does.
It's just funny because it's like he's shirtless outdoors, and I'm just like, you better have sunscreen on there, mister.
Well, and I feel like he did, because he talks about that he's filled with gratitude to be able to be moving his body again in this picture, and that this was an epiphany moment. From this day, he made a promise to himself: never again shall he take his fully functioning body for granted, never take his health for granted, and do something each day to communicate to your body you want to take care of it. So I feel like that is he is making sure he has sunblock on, because he's not taking things for granted.
Yeah.
So back off, Ben, Tom. Jeez.
I was just being silly. That's what I do.
I know. I was joking too.
When people are going to be upset if I stop being silly. Well, like 80% of them. Yeah, 20% of them suffer through me.
Yeah.
But
I think that's really cool that he shared this. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love that we get to see these little glimpses into people's lives.
Absolutely. And we're also very happy to hear that he's doing better.
Absolutely.
So Christine D'Ercole had an article in Brides magazine.
My understanding is that she wrote this, and then the editors kind of Brides kind of like reworked it a little bit.
Gotcha, because it's written in the first person.
Yes, yes. So if you didn't know by now, the story is that Christine D'Ercole met her fiance, Brian, in one of her Peloton classes, and they rode together for a really long time, and then it just kind of blossomed into romance, and now years later, here they are. They're getting married.
Yeah. And she writes about how she was surprised because prior to that, she had been dating women.
You know, and to me, that's just not the story.
No, but I mean, it's not the story, but I feel like it's a component of the story.
It absolutely is.
She leads off the piece with that.
No, totally. Yeah. I don't mean to be dismissive of that. I just mean that some people were upset because there were articles that kind of like were lookalike articles that use this as a jumping off point.
Yeah, they use this to create their own clickbait
titles.
Yeah.
And the titles said things that were just like, always dated women, now in love with a man. You know, it was stuff like that. And so really, I say that to acknowledge that was not handled well from those other articles.
Outlets, yeah.
And so that's why I was just explaining it wasn't the story for me, but absolutely a component of it because love is love. Yeah. And I think that's the story there. So.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're going to talk about sexuality as a spectrum, then there will be some people that are moving around within that spectrum. Yeah, absolutely. So, but anyway, so that is out there on brides.com. And if you want to find that link, you can just sign up for our email list at theclipout.com.
Absolutely.
And finally, for this segment, Jeffrey McEachern has a special playlist for you over on the Spotify.
Yeah, it's cool that they're taking all these different instructors and posting their playlists out on Spotify. So if you haven't gotten a chance to, get to know him from his, his classes, this is another way to get to know the instructors, to kind of hear the music that they put into their playlists.
So want to welcome a new advertiser to the show, one that you're extremely excited about because
I am stoked.
Oftentimes we're introduced to products and then you realize you like them before we decide to start talking about them. But in this case, it's something you've been using for years.
Yes, and I absolutely love Olive and June nail polish. And let me tell you why. Because they developed an entire system to do your manicures at home. I'm not the kind of person that I like to go get my nails done. Nothing wrong with that if you do, by the way. But I like to be able to do it myself, but I'm not very good at it. And Olive and June makes me good at it. They give me all these amazing tools that make my nails look good, including like they even have this little brush that comes with it that like you do touch-ups as you're doing your nails. Amazing. They don't look like a 3-year-old did them anymore. It's magical. Well, I'm telling you.
Especially because of the way their system works, and I just know this from hearing you talk about it, but that like when you're doing your nails, it's real easy if you're right-handed to do your left hand, but then, and I never thought about it because I'm a guy and my nails look like this. But when you're trying to do your dominant hand with your non-dominant hand,
it goes crazy.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have the little touch-up brush, and your nails end up looking much better, but they don't chip. They last for 7 days. And so that's the other amazing thing. Plus your nails are just in good condition. I just love everything about them. They also have a pedicure system. They have press-on nails that you can get. And let me tell you something. They have 4 different lengths and shapes of these nails. So they're not the kind like you get and then they look all funky on the end of your nail because they're not the right size. Nope. They're perfect. They're perfect. You can get extra short, which is what I like.
Wait, are you talking about me?
Nails.
Oh,
nails.
And it's also affordable.
It is, yeah. And to make it even more affordable, you can get your own beautiful salon perfect nails at home. It's a dream come true with Olive and June. Your new nail life is here. Visit oliveandjune.com/TCO for 20% off your first mani system.
That's OLIVEANDJUNE.com/TCO for 20% off your first mani system.
Psst, you should go ahead and order them now because we have our own masterclass coming in May. It's May.
Peloton in the news.
So as we mentioned earlier, there are tons of reviews out there of the guide. They clearly had a well-orchestrated strategy to kind of try to roadblock fitness websites with stories about the guide, and it appears to be doing well.
It does, yeah.
And it seems like most of the reviews are fairly positive, right? As we discussed earlier.
I feel like it's like I said, they're just kind of like, they're not negative reviews, but they're also not like, this is amazing. Yeah, they're middle of the road. They're like, this is a serviceable product.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which makes me think if they start adding the things we talked about earlier, that people will start to feel differently. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe reviews in a year as they revisit it. Like now that it's been out, now that they've added things, what does it look like? But yeah, like we had reviews from Wired.com.
Garage Gym reviews.
That's what that's saying. I couldn't read.
Not Garage Gum.
Yeah, I was
but it does look like that.
Garage My Reviews? What? Yeah.
Well, and that one wasn't a good one anyway, because they said that was a first look, and then they didn't even have it, so they hadn't even tried it. It was like a fake out.
Gotcha. And then The Verge did one, Wall Street Journal did one, TechCrunch, CNET.
So, Well and Good did one, PC Mag, Engadget,
PC Mag. So if you want to drill down on some of these, just join our newsletter at theclipout.com, and you'll get all these links in this week's email, and so you can dig into each and every one of them if that is your jam. Engadget has an article this week singing the praises of Lanebreak.
Yeah, and really, I just included this because I keep hearing so many positive things about Lanebreak.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a lot of people that really don't use it or haven't really tried it, spent any time with it. But I mean, It is totally revamping my relationship with my bike. I really, really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. And they keep dropping new classes every week. So I want to make sure and talk about it because, first of all, I want them to continue to drop new fun content. But second of all, I just really enjoy them. And I like that it's quiet time. Like I don't have a bunch of stuff happening in the background.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of becoming like this best kept secret of Peloton for a lot of people.
I agree.
And it makes me wonder if the guide might have a similar evolution over time, that it will develop its own kind of niche following within the Peloton community.
I could certainly see that. Yeah, I definitely think that makes sense for people who don't have other strength items, you know? So I think that makes total sense. I do.
So if you're traveling and you don't want to miss your Peloton, Marriott has you covered. This is not an ad.
I just thought I thought it was funny because they had like this big splash screen that's like, don't miss out with our Peloton suites. And then they had like a coupon that you could get to put it in your room. And I know we've known this for a while that they have these, but I think those were mostly Westins, not Marriott.
Yeah, originally the first one that had that partnership was Westin.
Yeah. But this is really cool that they have like a premium suite featuring an in-room bicycle. And of course, there's tons and tons of hotels that have them now, but how great to have it in your room. Like, because sometimes I don't like to go to the gyms at hotels.
Totally, I get that.
And just having it right there would be really cool. So Tom, you could just go ahead and schedule our next vacay with one of these. That'd be great.
I'll get right on that.
Okay, cool.
I wonder how long before we see hotel rooms that they have guides. I mean, that's the easiest course of action there, right?
It is.
And I also wonder if, you'll see Precor, aka Peloton commercial, when they're going to hotels trying to sell them bikes, if they'll start being like, hey, for $100 a room, you can put a Peloton guide in every room and say you have Peloton access in every single room in your hotel. And again, I feel like I'm giving Peloton free tips.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll send you something free too, Tom.
I don't need a guide. Send Crystal a rower whenever that's done.
That'd be cool.
And then finally, from our sad trombone department, Forbes magazine.
God, it made me so sad to see this. Like,
Forbes magazine has an article, Rich Enough, Here's Who Fell Off.
Not rich enough.
Oh, sorry. I have the thing over. I have my...
It's kind of an important word.
Yeah. I thought they were being sarcastic. You're rich enough. Not rich enough. Here's who fell off Forbes 2022 billionaires list. And one of them is John Foley.
Not just one of them. Dude, he's on the cover.
Yeah, he's one of the main. He's not the main guy, but he's right behind the main guy.
Yeah, he's right there. There's only 4 people on it. So.
I believe it was William Shakespeare who once said, "'Tis better to have been a billionaire and lost than to have never been a billionaire at all." He's still doing fine.
He is doing
and
fine.
He was a billionaire on paper. It's not like he was Scrooge McDuck diving into...
It doesn't make me sad about the money. It makes me sad because I care about John as a person, and it feels like such a personal attack.
Yeah, I get that. Like like at the end of the day, like he's doing fine, but it's also just the schadenfreude that some people have about it. And I'm sure just the optics of being kind of the cover boy of an article like that.
Yeah.
While he's still, doesn't need to do any coupon clipping.
No.
I'm sure it's not a look he enjoys.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him.
I don't either. Hang in there, John.
Checking out the competition.
Apple Fitness announced this week that they are launching a program to help new moms get back into the workout routine.
Yeah, I thought this was really interesting because it's really the first thing that Apple has done that I feel like is, I don't know, distinctive in some way, because they already had fitness,
right.
but a lot of the things that they've done have mirrored things that other companies are doing. And this is a program specifically for postpartum moms, and it's like to help them get back into shape.
But didn't Robin do stuff like this after?
She has postpartum classes, absolutely, but I don't feel like there's been a program that says do A, then do B, then do C.
Okay, that's the distinction.
To me it is. Now, you never know what's going to happen again with this guide, right? Because we're going to have this exclusive content. So maybe there will be things out there like that where there are programs, maybe that rumored Tune Day Arms program isn't the only thing we'll see.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I guess it feels like maybe it that might lend itself more to stuff like this. The guide.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to be doing, Peloton is going to be doing more programs. I understand there's going to be content like for your splits each week. So, and splits for people who don't know are like your different body parts. So you might have a bi-tri day. You might have chest and back day. You might have glutes.
They're not going to make you do the splits.
No,
don't worry.
No, they will not be doing that. But that's really good because a lot of people they don't know what classes they should be doing when. And that is something I hear from people all the time.
Well, and that's one of the things we sing the praises of Tonal about with their programs is they put the dots really close together. And it's like, you want to get lean, then here's a thing that'll do that. Or if you want to build muscle, here's a thing that'll do that. So, that is a big selling point.
It is. And so I do think the guide will help with that. And hopefully they'll be doing something like this for new moms. That would be really cool.
In case you missed it.
We have some new classes from our German camp.
Yeah, this is cool. Speaking of programs, this is You Can Run Outdoors, and it's the German version. I saw this drop last week, and I thought it was so cool because we really haven't seen a lot of programs come from the UK or coming from Germany or having Spanish classes that are a program. So this is very cool.
So Peloton has some Grammy classes. Wink, wink.
Why are you winking?
Because they can't say the word Grammy.
Oh, yeah. They're celebrating the stars.
Celebrating the stars who happen to be nominated for Grammys.
So is Grammys one of those things that's like protected rights?
Yeah, I mean, it's a trademarked thing, so you can't just associate yourself with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You have to pay for the rights or get their permission or whatever. So in the same way you can't say Super Bowl. I think you can do World Series because it's so old. They didn't think about it at the time. And by the time they saw the value in it, it was too late. But yeah, so anything like this, you couldn't just say Oscars or Emmys or things like that. So,
okay. Well, they have Grammy classes. That's what they're for.
And who do they feature?
Well, I can't see because I made it too small so I could see the rest of my screen.
It says glass animals with
It doesn't really matter because we're a million years old, so were we going to know these anyway?
Yeah, Jasmine Sullivan.
Yeah, no, don't know.
And Lil Nas X. I know that one.
Yeah, I know that one. Name. I do know that.
Woo, not as old as I thought. Or he's not as cool as he thought because people like us know who he is.
No, he's maintaining his popularity through the years. Lots of years. When did he become popular? Do you know, Tom? You know a lot of weird stuff like that.
I don't think that long ago. I think like 2 or 3 years.
Then that's not.
Yeah. Like I was just like, I don't think it's as long as you think.
I don't know. I just know the name. I don't even know the music. I heard a Glass Animals song today. Couldn't tell you anything about it. I heard it. It didn't really strike me.
Yeah.
Just getting older and older.
Yep. And then finally, the Feel Good fam has some new merch available for you.
Yeah, you can get it from Lux and Hazel. I thought this was fun. I love seeing all the new products that all the different groups come up with. And I liked this one and I like their different designs. So if you want to check it out, you can go to Lux and Hazel on Instagram and you can see all their fun Feel Good fam designs and get your own.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
So joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Josh Vernon. Hey, Josh, how's it going?
How you guys doing? Going well.
Good. We're really excited to have you here today, and I'm looking forward to hearing your journey. I know that it's been complex how you found Peloton, so I'm curious if you would like to share how you got there.
Well, where to start? It has been a journey. I grew up and lived in Massachusetts all my life, playing sports. Went to college, played sports. Moved back to Massachusetts after going to Virginia Tech and worked. And sports kind of got pushed to the side. Working out got pushed to the side, and I started drinking, smoking cigarettes. And I was like, where did that lifestyle come from? But it was my lifestyle. And then this crazy dream came about of moving to the U.S. Virgin Islands and followed that dream eventually and moved there in 2015. And things went well at the beginning, and then things started to crash. It was like one bad thing after the other. Lifestyle wasn't the greatest, but the environment was. Can't never change that.
Yeah.
But with that environment comes the possibility of hurricanes, and 2 of them hit back to back within 12 days of each other, called Irma and Maria. And I pretty much lost everything I had, except for my dog, who's now almost 16 years old. So he's a trooper too, but we kind of just refocused, and I came home for a couple weeks after the hurricanes, but I was helping rebuild, and I felt good about that. And so I told my parents, I'm going to go back. And this was around Thanksgiving of 2017. And I went back and I did a lot of work in construction and things I've never done before, but I was physically able to help out. So I helped out. And the community was unbelievable after the storms.
I'm sure.
But it got tiring, and I had nothing down there. My daughter was going to school in Virginia, living with her grandmother, and I was done. So January 3rd, I'll never forget it. I called my mom and said, I'm booking a ticket. And January 10th, 2018, I moved home. So that kind of changed where my life was headed right there. And things started to come back together. I moved home with a couple bags and my dog. I really had, it was like starting all over again at almost 40 years old. And where do you go? So I got a job and just went to work and got another job and worked a second job and found an amazing woman in my life. And she lived in the town I had moved from. And it was like, now I'm back around all my friends and I have a wonderful woman in my life. And, she didn't like dogs, but for some reason she loved my dog.
Because it was your dog.
It was your dog, yeah.
So she actually will now tell you that he comes first. I just came with him. But Janine kind of, she worked out. She went running all the time. And I mean, at that point, I was still having some drinks. I was still smoking a cigarette here and there. And this was in the middle of 2018. Next thing you know, I stopped drinking, and that had nothing to do with anything other than my own choice. I wanted to get full custody of my daughter back. And that was just, I needed to prove that I had a real life again. So I went to work at doing that, and I stopped drinking, eventually stopped smoking. 6 weeks before our wedding, I started working out. And my wife will say, it's amazing how you picked a 6-week challenge that ends the weekend of our wedding.
Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how much ground you're going to gain in 6 weeks, but I mean, better late than never, as I can attest, right?
Dude, those beginner gains are the best gains.
And it was a 6-week challenge of like a transformation challenge. So take a picture at the beginning, take a picture at the end or along the way. And there was a virtual group of us because it was towards the beginning of COVID. And next thing you know, 6 weeks later, I'm getting married and getting a check for $200 because I won the challenge. And I'm off to Bora Bora in the middle of COVID in the best shape of my life.
Well, now, wait a minute. Was this a 6-week Peloton challenge of some kind?
It was not a Peloton challenge yet. I had not touched the Peloton yet.
Okay.
And my wife had. We got the Peloton when we bought this house. Right, like February at the beginning. So the month before COVID really locked everything down. We moved into this house. I like to say ever since I left the islands in January of 2018, timing has just been on my side. Something's been watching over me. Someone and.
Yeah, I was surprised when you said you went to Bora Bora for your honeymoon. I'd be like, I'm never going to another island.
Right, like, after, yeah.
She's like, where do you want to go on your honeymoon? I'd be like, how about
somewhere there's no hurricanes. Yeah,
there's something with the draw to those islands.
It is beautiful. Yeah. It is beautiful.
If I can survive 2 Category 5 hurricanes, I figure like, all right, what are the chances? First off, and second,
stop that! Knock on wood. I can't even believe you said those words.
As I live in New England, and we have a blizzard on the way. So.
Right.
But it was so it wasn't a Peloton challenge, but it got me working out again. And
okay.
My whole lifestyle changed. And all of a sudden, we're doing different things, and I'm working out and having fun and running with her. And I thought it was going to be more of a running thing, but then I hurt my shin. and my back. So I wasn't feeling great running outdoors anymore. We didn't have a treadmill at the time, and we had the Peloton that she'd been using. And I was like, well, that fake workout,
fake workout. Get out of here.
This guy who had been working out for like 8 weeks at that point.
Yeah, you're skeptical. You're such an expert on working out at that point.
She will never let me live that one down.
Good.
But yeah, that fit workout, I decided to try out one October 24th with Tunde. Go figure.
So yeah, you weren't starting easy. That's for sure.
30-minute climb ride or something. I forget what exact class it was, but yeah, starting out with Tunde and a 30-minute class, it was all right, here we go. So needless to say, I probably crawled off the mat after I stretched that day.
Yeah.
Imagine if you hadn't done that challenge first.
That's true.
If I hadn't done that challenge, I probably would have been doing a few 5-minute warm-up rides.
I'm calling it a day.
It would have been like the third hurricane.
It would have been the third hurricane. I don't know if I would have survived that one.
Well, why were you so skeptical of the Peloton?
I don't know what it was. I mean, I guess it was maybe because I'd never done a spin class before. I'd never done any type of stationary bike riding before, and you're stationary. You're not moving. No, I see her run. I see her do other like Tabata classes and things like that, and she's always doing hardcore type classes. But then she gets on the bike, and it just seems so easy. But then it's not, and I can watch her struggle. I was like, but you can do all these other things so easily. So I don't know why I was so skeptical about it, but I mean, I was definitely proven wrong. That's for sure.
Oh, wait. You dropped out. I can't hear you. Could you hear him, Tom?
Yeah, I think he's just talking quiet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Can you repeat that last sentence?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was definitely skeptical at first, but I mean, I was proven wrong very quickly. Starting with Tunde, and then I did a lot of Alex classes. And then I found that program button on the screen, and that led me to discover your power zones, and that just kind of changed everything except for the FTP test.
So then you were just like immediately hooked when you got to Power Zone.
Yeah, I was immediately hooked because I had hurt my back a little bit, and I think it was a snow shoveling injury. Go figure. And I couldn't run. But I was still training for a 5K, a 10K, and a half marathon. The first 10K and half marathons of my life, the Boston Marathon was doing those virtually. So I needed to stay in shape. And then Power Zone training just kind of made sense to me. And it was a little more of a scheduled workout. I like being told what I'm doing and have that schedule. And those Power Zone rides in like 4 weeks of classes at the time made sense.
Yeah.
And then that led me into Peloton. And I made a couple of social media posts about my progress in Peloton. Like, this guy who never worked out is all of a sudden riding for 50 miles or 100 miles throughout the weekend. And one of my friends saw the post and said, oh, you should join our Power Zone Challenge team. And the Power Zone Challenge started that January. And from there, I was with a bunch of people I didn't know doing a Power Zone Challenge, but I had 8 weeks of scheduled training, and I was hooked.
So you love that structure. You love having everything prescribed. You know exactly what to expect, when to do it. That works for you. So how did you go from joining a Power Zone team to then creating a Power Zone team like that? That's quite a jump.
I mean, it is quite a jump literally from October to February 28th, I decided to create the team. So I'm somebody who likes to build communities through social media with a little bit of nonprofit background to them as well. And this one, it felt like the piece that was missing to me was that camaraderie and a Facebook group for 8 weeks. And then it's going to change. There's going to be new people on the team. And I knew one person on this team personally. Yeah. And you get to see some people chatting and stuff on Facebook. But that 8-week thing was just like, this can be better. And there's so many people in Massachusetts riding the Peloton bike. and we can start with a community here. And I talked to Angie Verbeck at the Power Zone Pack, and she said, you need 125 people to start a new team, at least. That's my minimum. And my wife said, you're crazy. Don't do it. No way you're going to get 125 people. And I built the Facebook community online called Wicked Smart Zone. I came up with the idea right away, but I had one member, my wife. One member.
Where did you get the other 124 or 23?
He was trying to figure out how to get the dog to pedal.
Yeah.
Get the dog to pedal and a Facebook account, which, I mean, I think his Instagram probably would tie in there eventually. I had met a few people that had become Facebook friends through some outdoor running and training, and they knew some other people, and social media has a way of finding people. I posted the group in the Peloton Riders of Massachusetts, the Peloton Riders of New England Facebook groups, and that kind of got it started. And then they started inviting friends. And I think within a week, we had 250 people in the group.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So were you clear why there was a minimum? Like, why does it matter how many people are in it?
Well, just to start a new team, because the Power Zone Pack challenges are huge. I mean, there's so many teams involved, and for the group to manage a new team, you needed to have a minimum, or else it just kind of didn't make sense to have another 50 people. You might as well just go join another team. So
gotcha.
I had a task. I completed the task, and now the group just keeps growing.
Well, but I mean, that's kind of an understatement, because then you added fundraising to this whole thing. So how did that come up? And then I don't even know how it got to the restaurant. So we got to get there too.
We'll get there. We will definitely get there. So so part of building the community was not only could we do stuff together on the challenges for 6 weeks or 8 weeks and hang out, and then all of a sudden people start becoming friends on Facebook. You're not just in the same group. And with everyone in the close proximity geographically, we could do some outdoor gatherings. So the first gathering I did was part of a fundraiser that we had started for one of our group members who was a lung cancer survivor at this point. I mean, 14 years living with lung cancer. She's in our community.
Wow.
Janine had done my wife had done some fundraising for her 5-10 years back. And we reconnected through Power Zone, through Peloton. And here she is, 14 years living with lung cancer, and has her own foundation called Lung Strong. So we had all of these shirts made, and all of the proceeds from the shirts went to her foundation. So we raised, I think, a couple of $1,000s for her foundation. And that kind of kicked off the philanthropy side of the Wicked Smart Zone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was, everyone jumped on the idea. And from there, it was like, okay, well, this community likes to do two things. They like to ride the bike, and they like to give back to the community. And then we like to get together and have fun. So I bought 70 tickets to a Worcester Woo Sox game, the new farm team for the Boston Red Sox, in a brand new stadium. And we had our own little private section outdoors in the middle of the summer, and 70 people bought tickets. Exactly the amount that I had bought up front. And we all got together and hang out. And again, in the middle of COVID, but in a safe environment, unbelievable. And people that had never met each other hanging out like they were best friends.
That's awesome.
It is.
It's always scary when you buy the big ticket package, hoping you can
fill it.
Get it. We did that for a Paul McCartney concert once, and it was like you shelled for that. It was like you shelled out like $15,000.
Yeah.
We weren't trying to make money. We just but it was like, oh, please let us sell all of these.
Yeah, like, geez Louise, a lot of tickets to sell.
It was like, are the airline miles really worth it?
Right, yeah. Exactly.
We're not going anywhere right now.
A lot of stress until they're sold, right?
Yeah. Luckily, McCartney's an easy sell.
Yeah,
everybody loves
very
the
much.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys did that pretty easily.
Yeah.
How was that concert?
Oh, amazing.
And like my son is a huge Beatles fan. He was 13 at the time, and it was like, and I was just like I didn't want to just buy a ticket. I wanted to, plus it was it's a stadium, so if it like it's really hot or if it rains, you're going to be miserable. So at least this way, there was an indoor component, and so if it got really bad, so I was like, let's set ourselves up to win, and so.
Yeah, it was also in the middle of summer.
Yeah, it was
St.
like
Louis.
August.
And so it's brutally hot here.
Yeah.
So you don't really want to be down there by the stage because there's no coverage. Like it's just brutal.
No breathing room whatsoever. I do want to come visit your city though. I have not been to the Midwest in that region. Always wanted to get there.
I mean, we'd love to see you here, but I'm just telling you, there's not much to do.
Well, I missed you when you were here in Boston, so I kind of feel bad about that. I think there was something going on with my daughter, so I do apologize. But I think two of my friends were able to attend, part of the original Wicked Smart Zone people with Mary Ellen and Darren.
Yes, yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be able to come back.
We had a great time.
We did. We loved Boston. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, and for people hearing the name of your team, you need to make it very clear how you spell it because
Very
you
true.
really leaned in.
So Wicked Smart Zone with an H, like we like to say here in Boston and all over New England for the most part. But it's and it grew from like a Massachusetts only group to New England to people who like to speak this way, who live in California now, who had a friend who went to college in Boston and just like it. And now we get people in the Power Zone Pack site and all over that are like, we love high-fiving that team on the leaderboard. They're always high-fiving us. And I just laugh when I see the name #Wicked Smart Zone on the leaderboard. And it's just, it's kind of grown on its own as well, which is really neat to see.
Absolutely. Now it's just like some guys saw Cheers. He can be in it. Yeah.
I know that show.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
I really like that song more than a feeling. You're in. Yeah.
Aerosmith, right?
Yeah, close enough. Jay Giles Band, sure. Come on in.
It's
Mighty Mighty
unbelievable.
Boss Tones. We'll take it.
Well, we visited Boston once, so we could join.
Yeah.
Shipping up to Boston. I mean, it's played on like every other Peloton ride.
It's like when you go to New Jersey and they play Bon Jovi on the alternative rock station because it's New Jersey and it's Bon Jovi.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. We get a lot of Dropkick Murphys around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. So your fundraising kind of evolved though, and you've gotten a lot of media attention around this latest fundraising that you've done. So tell us about that and how that came to be.
Yeah, so I think right before Christmas time, I had seen a friend share a post that they saw in like the Philadelphia, New Jersey area church group got together, 13 people, and went to breakfast. And they called it Shock and Claws. And the 13 people brought $100 each, and whatever was left over from their breakfast. Now, figure breakfast is $10, $15 tops per person. They left as a tip. So that immediately rang a bell. I ran to Janine and I said, we got to do this. And I'm booking a breakfast for January 9th was the day we did it. And so we had like 3 weeks to find people, make sure that the venue was going to be okay, COVID, everything going on. We made sure everyone was vaccinated and boosted that was going to come. And then all of a sudden people started saying, well, I can't come. And I said, well, that's fine. We can take some extra Venmo money and I'll bring some extra cash. And I was like, wait, no, we should really promote that. Whoever doesn't want to come or who can't come, because now the group's all over the country and some people in Europe, can just send me a Venmo. People trusted me enough to send me a Venmo. I was like, this is a little weird, but it worked. And next thing I knew, like a couple nights before we went to breakfast, all of a sudden there was like $1,000 in 24 hours. And it's just people sending money left and right, and they don't know who anyone is at this restaurant. They've never been there. I think Janine and I were the only ones that had ever been there, maybe 2 other people. And so that was a piece of it that I wanted to. Like, I didn't know anyone that worked there. It was a restaurant I knew of and I knew the history of, but that was it. And we wanted it to be a true surprise and for a small community where it would really make an impact for the server or two. We figured that would get the tip. So I went and cashed out $2,800 from the Venmo money. And and went to the restaurant with that. And 21 of us had breakfast that morning. And the final bill came to about $380. The final tip came to almost $4,000 with our money thrown in that day too. So I left it with the manager. We walked out the door, and I thought that was the end of it. I figured I'd probably hear from the owner or whatever. And she called me a couple of days later and said, I wanted you to know that everyone got a piece of that. So the entire restaurant, the entire staff, the lady who called out that day and switched shifts with somebody. You got half of it. So it really reached out to some people that really needed it. And it just made an impact on a small community. And that's what we were looking to do. And that's it. And next thing you know, I'm getting a phone call that I need to get down to the restaurant in a half hour because the news is coming. And they want to do an interview. So Channel 4 News, WBZ, CBS shows up at Lowell's restaurant at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. And I sit down in the booth and talk to them and think nothing of it. It's going to air in maybe a little 30-second spot on Friday night. And we got some good airtime. The restaurant got some good airtime in the story. And that was like, if I was ever going to do an interview, it had to be about the story and about it spreading. And because the more people that see it and hear it, the more things get done like that. And the more good things people can do, the less we have to listen to the other stuff.
And it makes way more sense if you're looking to do something nice than the paying for the coffee and the guy behind you in the Starbucks line. I'm like, that guy's got money for coffee or he wouldn't be in the drive-through line. Like you're doing
something nice, but it's not
nice,
it's
but
not as impactful as what you guys did.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the kid making $8 an hour pouring your Starbucks is like, yeah, that's real nice for the guy in the Lexus behind you.
Exactly. I mean, the paying the forward thing is wonderful. I mean, any good deed is a good deed, but absolutely. I mean, the impact that it was going to make was going to be special. It's not somebody who's got the title of barista, that's for sure. At this little small $10 menu diner in Mendon, Massachusetts. So that was special to me that they had the room to hold us, had a space that was safe for us, and that it was going to have an impact. And I wasn't handing money to a barista.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's not like you don't want to tip baristas, but that like you're not paying for the car in the line behind you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And who knows who's
I don't want outraged emails from baristas.
I hear you. I tip well no matter where I go, and you don't know who's in line behind you. But
that's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
It is.
Yeah. And that's also an industry that was, hit really hard by COVID. And so it's people that live on tips that weren't able to really make them at least for a while. And then also not make them at the level that they used to because people weren't going out in the same, amounts. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the biggest reason. I mean, I've had a lot of friends that worked in the service industry. Living in the islands, everyone worked in the service industry.
Sure.
I've worked in the service industry. So I had done a little bit of fundraising for it since I moved back for a friend of mine who owned a restaurant. And he ended up getting a grant for $10,000 because of a little bit of work I did on LinkedIn for him. And it made a huge impact. He was able to keep all of his employees on staff. So that just stuck with me, how big that impact was there.
Yeah.
And yeah, these are people, like I said to my wife, there's probably people in that restaurant that are constantly wondering if they're going to have enough money to pay for a babysitter while they work.
Absolutely.
Or to have their kid looked at after school or whatever it may be, anything.
Right.
And especially at a small diner like that, right? Like they work on tips, which means they get a percentage. And when the average item is $10 and not $50, like then obviously your income is less as well. So it can really have an impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you got people coming in with groups of two. in groups
Right.
of 3 or 4 and not groups of 20 or 30.
And it's a diner.
Those big events are huge.
And you tend to stick around in a diner for a while, which means the tables don't turn as fast.
You don't churn as
I mean,
much. You smaller parties, smaller prices. Yeah, absolutely.
All of that makes an impact.
Yeah.
But I will say, you set the bar pretty high for yourself. So like, have you already started thinking about how you're going to top that for the next one?
Yeah, that started probably before we even finished that one.
What's the name of that restaurant, and are they hiring?
We definitely saw some comments on social media like, why can't that happen to my restaurant?
I'm sure.
You're like
the other side of social media. Yeah.
So that's a pretty high bar you set for yourself. So do you kind of have everything planned out for the next one?
Yeah, it's always in my head. And then my wife says, no more projects. But I can help out again. I can do this. and then all of a sudden we have 300 more people in our community because of all of this news. Everyone wanted to join Wicked Smart Zone. And they saw the giving back philanthropy piece. And I'm like, well, who are these people we're getting in our community? Well, they like that aspect. So we'll accept them all. I had 2 admins helping me accept members over the weekend. So we've got 300 new people, and now we can do another fundraiser. So I had a good member of mine reach out to me about his Pay and Mass Challenge bike riding event. And
yeah.
Huge event that started in 1980. All the proceeds go to the Dana-Farber Cancer Society through the Jimmy Fund. So it is kind of a national type event, but very big here in Boston for cancer research. And he was like, I bet you there's a bunch of people riding in the community. And instead of one person reaching out and putting up a post that they're raising money, why don't we pool everyone together? So he's like, Josh, I'll leave the rest to you. And I put together a big post, probably a day or 2 after the restaurant thing, and asked who was riding. And as of today, we now have 29 riders in our community that are doing the Pay and Mass Challenge. So either the full 2 days or 1 day. The big thing there is they're on the hook for their commitment to raise money.
Okay.
So some of these people are on the hook for up to $6,000.
Yikes.
That they need to raise between now and I think their cutoff date's sometime in September. The ride is August 6th and 7th. So ideally, let's get the money raised by then. It gets a little harder after an event to continue to raise money. But yeah, some of these, so it's anywhere from 1,000 for virtual riders, but most of our riders, I'd say all but 1 or 2 are doing either the 1 day or the 2 day, and it's $4,000 or $6,000 that they got to come up with in fundraising. If not, it comes out of their own pocket. So
gotcha.
Let's help them raise money. So our first effort was just to start asking people if they wanted to do some Venmo, but I haven't really pushed that yet. But it's Super Bowl season. So what do you do during Super Bowl season? You do Super Bowl squares.
Yeah, that's great.
So we put together Super Bowl squares 2 nights ago. And the first sheet sold out in about 18 hours. So half the proceeds are going to our Pay and Mass Challenge riders. So $1,000 to them, $1,000 to the winners. And I'd created another sheet. So we've now sold 200 squares in under 48 hours and raised $2,000 for our Pay and Mass Challenge fund. So
that's awesome. Great.
That's the kickoff to now an entire winter and spring of fundraising for our community of bike riders.
You are off to a good start.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we can get to 10 grand, that would be awesome. That would be a good amount of change coming from one source to them. And then we're going to distribute it all evenly based on their commitment. So we kind of have a percentage broken down for each rider of what they will get. So that way they're not all fighting for people's donations within the community, and we just spread the love.
That's a great way to do it. Yeah.
That's a great way to make it like competitive without being ugly.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
It could get ugly because one person posted and I was like, all right, let's shut that down. We don't want to have any priority treatment here. So
absolutely.
Totally.
Definitely.
Well, so what is your leaderboard name?
My leaderboard name was originally, and still is technically, exactly, but hashtag Vern on a bike. So my last name on a bike, just cut and trade. A lot of my friends call me Vern. So I went with Vern on a bike. Pretty simple, but it stuck. People understood it. People knew it. And Vern Min, now on bike.
Gotcha.
So Vern on bike. And
I would have went with Feel the Vern.
This is why I needed you, Tom. Where were you on October 23rd?
Probably recording.
Yeah. Was it a Wednesday?
Yeah. Gotta get you out of there every once in a while.
Well, hey, never too late to change.
No, it's not. So, and what I've done now, though, I actually did use, I put on hold Wicked Smart Zone as an actual leaderboard. And for this challenge right now, I'm actually using Wicked Smart Zone as my leaderboard name. So people see it, and it's just kind of a little Peloton social marketing. And maybe more people join the group because the more people in the group, the more money we can raise for different community aspects. And there's a lot more that I want to do with the community and giving back. And one of the things that came out of this was this slogan, "Do Wicked Good." And that's kind of my next venture, maybe outside of this, but kind of a whole little feel lifestyle type brand that we might build around giving back and doing good things, or just doing wicked good at your next Peloton ride. It can be anything. So this is all taking on a whole new life, and it's all thanks to a little bike that goes nowhere, a treadmill, and I like my outdoor classes too when I go running. So I mean, it's all been a huge change in a matter of 15 months, something like that. At this point.
Yeah, that's a very short time frame for all that you have done. That's for sure.
Totally. So,
but I've not had the chance to get to the studio, and like most people, I mean, there's so many of us that have joined the Peloton family since COVID, and I'm one of them. So it's definitely on the bucket list for sure.
Yeah, hopefully they fire that back up. Once it's safe, that would be nice. It's funny that it was such a large part of the experience for people, and like making that trip, and you have this whole huge influx of people that it's an alien concept to them.
I know. And that they're like, oh, I don't want people in the studio. It's just
like
so
there's like, that would be weird. And it's like, no, what's happening now is weird.
I want a bike number. I want bike 7. That's one of the coolest things that like everyone knew exactly what bike they were getting on, and you hear the stories of the weekends and all the pictures that people took, and the camaraderie they had with the riders, and how the riders were the coaches were the same on and off the bike, and that's such a cool part about it. Just that aspect of the Peloton community. The fact that Peloton took this story and tweeted it out for us as well was really cool. And I was hoping they would do that, because we all want this brand to get its image turned back around and really be what it's all about. And I was hoping that they would use that story for the right reason. And I hope it a little bit.
Well, I'm sure it did. And that they liked it because they didn't just put it on LinkedIn. So
it did get on LinkedIn, but it was amazing.
Not just.
It made Twitter right before the grandmother on the bike, and then she trumped it off.
Are you talking about Dr. May? May?
Dr. May, yeah. Dr. May trumped the restaurant story. That's for sure.
Well, she's pretty
cool
too.
Yeah.
So given that you guys do spend so much time on social media, how can people find you if they want to join the group, if they want to be part of it? How can they do that?
So the easiest one is our Facebook group. So facebook.com/groups/Wicked Smart Zone, SMAHTZONE. And we also have a small little presence on Instagram under Wicked Smart Zone as well. But that's building. But for the most part, everything takes place in Facebook through our community there. Now 1,500 members almost. So not a bad start from 125. Pressure.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And before we let you go, where can people find you if you would like to be found?
I'm on Facebook under Josh Vernon. So pretty easy to find me there. I'm also under on Twitter at JV1734, my two favorite numbers. So my initials and 1734.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us, and thanks for turning your group into a really good thing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. It's another way for the world to get out there about let's do good things, right?
Absolutely.
And then ride the bike until you.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, or the Peloton leaderboard at ClipOutCrystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/The Clipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, don't forget our newsletter at theclipout.com. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling.
And running.
And guiding.
Lifting? Something like that.
Sure.
Clip in, set yourself